can get.
Right.
And
he's also a nerd.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
And they were coming for him.
It's I've never liked. There's something about the Pacific Northwest. I never connected with it.
I thought about living there once.
Yeah, but I mean, you love that stuff. I don't give a shit about.
It rains all the time.
I know, but that's why these people are out throwing Bibles at the federal building, is because it's raining all the time.
Well, I don't know what makes that place so progressive and so left wing, but the thing is that like you saw hints of this many years ago where Antifa would stop traffic.
Yeah,
they were like doing these things and when people would,
and they would get people to say Black Lives Matter. It's like, what's the point of that?
Before that, they weren't connected with Black Lives Matter. Before the coronavirus thing, before George Floyd, the Antifa people, it was all about right-wing people. It was all about combating right-wing folks.
Right. Like the Proud Boys, they would have those skirmishes.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's where the Proud Boys came from.
Right.
They came from Gavin
protecting right-wing speakers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They wanted someone to fight back against Antifa who were shutting down people who were speaking at colleges who were right-wing, people like Milo or anybody else.
Coulter or whatever.
Yeah, those kind of people. So that's where it all came from in the first place. But when you would go to Seattle, they were letting these fucking people direct traffic. Or was it Portland? Might have been Portland. They were letting these fucking people direct. They were telling people, you can't go down this road. Yeah. And so this old man was like, I'm going there. And they started chasing him and they kicked his ass. They're beating on his fucking car. Like,
yeah, I don't know why people on Twitter defend that, and I don't know why a lot of celebrities defend it, and I don't understand why a lot of mainstream Democrats don't just call that out for what it is. I've never once seen a mainstream Republican ever, defend like the Proud Boys or that was certainly not their hill to die on. Like, if a mainstream Republican defended them, it was it was a huge news story. Usually, I don't know why. I think the big problem is it's like, things are happening. You see them with your own eyes, and then people tell you that they're not happening.
Right.
They're like, no, that protest is peaceful. You're like, I saw them light a guy on fire and use him as a battering ram to get into Macy's. They're like, well, he gave them a look. There's always a qualifier. There's always this weird qualifier.
Yeah.
They're like, well, here's what happened. You're like, they were beating a child. They're like, let me explain what happened.
Yeah.
They were gathered together. They had burning Bibles, bows and arrows, bike locks, and chains. That child crossed the street. That child said, my dad's a cop. You see the child starting? You're like, no. There's always a weird, but they
you know what it
first.
Is? They're the thugs of the left wing. They're doing the dirty work that the left wing wants to get done.
They're like theater kids. They're like people that failed at stand-up comedy and theater, and they moved back to Portland from L.A., and now they're like, let's burn it all down. I didn't get a Comedy Central half hour.
Did you ever see
the ones?
You ever see the ones that are practicing self-defense?
No.
They train. They actually train. They're like these Antifa people were meeting in the park, and they were getting ready for skirmishes with the right-wing people.
Right.
This is all pre-COVID.
Right.
When this was funny.
Right.
Right. Pre-COVID, this was funny. When it stopped being funny was... how do you pronounce his last name? Andy No. Andy No.
Yeah.
When Andy No got beat up and they milkshaked him and people were mocking, and I'm like, hey, wait, blah, 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 blah. Why do you think it's okay to beat this guy up? Like, why do you think it's okay to steal this guy's camera? Like,
what is that?
No one is saying this is
no
wrong.
One
Then I started to say, like, okay, this is going to be a real problem.
And then the economy got shut down, and you're like, oh, this will only make this bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
Yeah, this will only fuel the fire of this.
But again, it's like these people who go there, whether they're trying to light the federal building on fire or direct traffic, they have a purpose now. They have a thing, and they have a cause.
Right.
Like when they took over that six block section of Portland or Seattle, rather.
Yeah, Chaz.
Chaz. Yeah. Or what was it? Chow. What they call it again?
It was Chaz
or Chop.
Chop. It became Chop, but it started as Chaz. But young countries often have,
they change leadership
hiccups and as they develop.
Coups.
I was going to have that guy on my show, the guy Raz.
Yeah, I was too. Then he got caught with a gun.
I know.
He was handing an AK to someone or whatever it was.
I still would have had him, but we couldn't get a Zoom link working.
I was going to have him here in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That would have been fun.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, man, I support you, doing your thing, but you can't bring out a gun. It's like... And I didn't even know what the thing is.
They shot 2 people there.
Well, I don't know. He didn't shoot 2 people.
Well, he didn't, but somebody
definitely did. The other thing they were doing that was crazy was they basically became a really shittily run country. They put up borders almost immediately.
Immediately.
Barriers.
They want borders.
When people were doing things they didn't want them to do, they were the worst case of police brutality. They just beat the fuck out of people.
They just beat people up.
So if you were trying to film them doing something they didn't want you to film, they just kick your ass.
Well, this is just like if you believe in something really fervently, not like it's always the ends justify the means. Like however you get there, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like anything's justified in the pursuit of this utopia that you think you're going to erect in downtown Seattle.
Well, it's also you're doing
for
exactly
7 blocks.
what you think shouldn't have been done to America. You're occupying land.
Right.
You're taking over existing structures. You're kicking out the indigenous people of Seattle.
Yeah. I think, the shitty thing is like electoral politics isn't perfect, but that's what you have to do. Like, look at Cortez. She got elected, Like, the people that believe the things you believe can get elected.
Yeah.
They have to work within the system because all the violence and chaos will do will give the government a reason to even clamp down more. Now they got people throwing people into vans in Portland. The DHS, because again, you're not going to overthrow the government.
Right.
You're not going to overthrow the military. It's not the way it's going to work.
Right. If they catch you breaking public property.
It's just going to be an excuse for them to clamp down more, and it's going to we're going to be in more of a police state than we were.
Yeah, the idea that when they did that somehow or another incited the violence to get worse, like that is, I don't know if that's true.
No, it was chaos every night for 50 days. I'm not for the unmarked vans. I think that's I think all of those things end up being, because look at what happened after 9/11. They said, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then all of a sudden, nobody got any rights back, by the way. Your emails are still being read. You have no privacy. All of that's still there. So if we just establish a precedent of like, some people need to get thrown in a van, and we'll explain why that is.
Yeah.
That becomes a major problem going forward.
Did you see when they got thrown into vans how excited everybody else was? What's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name? We'll get you out, friend.
Right.
It's like you guys are all
fun.
like Luke Skywalker.
This is what happens.
They're the resistance.
When you shut a country down for 3 months. This is the only fun left.
Yeah.
Nothing's open anymore. The only fun thing left to do is to overthrow the government, get thrown in a van.
Yeah.
This is summer vacation to people.
Yeah.
This is they used to have those dumb escape rooms that people used to do.
I love escape rooms. You shut the fuck up.
They're stupid.
I love them.
But this is a real one. This is a fun, real one now.
It is a fun,
real one. How fun is that?
Yeah. How do you light the federal building on fire?
Now it's a real one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, man, and I wonder how these people are going to transition into regular grown-up life after their
I think
life
that
as an
ship
anarchist.
has sailed, Joe. I think regular grown-up life, the ship is sailed. On both sides. Like, the people that were in Charlottesville marching around like, we're going to have a white country. We're going to these people
They
also.
will not replace us.
Yeah, Jews will not replace. It's like those people are as well. You'll never please the far left and the far right.
Right.
Like, you'll never, like the people that are really on the fringes, you're never going to make them happy. Like Kamala Harris, by the way, is a fine VP choice. Yes, we're all going to get put in jail.